Hi, Helena Phoenix here. This is a little bit of a different type of video. It sort of delves more into the work I used to do, which I haven't quite let go of when I was a talk show host on the radio, discussing topics of narcissism and social engineering and just all sorts of social problems that we have, etc. So this is just a podcast discussing a few things. Again, I've got a few things that I do. I run a couple of businesses and I do music and, just a real renaissance woman, basically tapping into my potential and my creativity and all that stuff. So if you understand my body of work, you'll understand that's what I do. And life coaching, and I'm one step away from a diploma in advanced counselling, plus personal training, which I had done for 15 years. So it's all very interesting for me at the moment. I'm definitely, I could say, living my dream. I'm living and doing the things that I've always wanted to do, and I feel like I'm very, very fortunate to do so. It was a lot of years of planning, and I'm finally manifesting it all. But I just wanted to do this podcast in relation to narcissism. Okay, so I have had guests on my show when I had my show Time to Shine and Waking Up the Line on Revolution Radio and Wolf Spirit Radio. And I'd have guests on my show who were experts in narcissistic abuse recovery. One of them being Melanie Tonya Evans, who's an Australian woman who's extremely popular with helping people recover from narcissistic abuse. So I understand that Melanie's still going years and years and years after. She's still at it, helping people. So kudos to her. I don't know how she has a career based on discussing narcissism every single day, and she helps people around the world every single day. She's been doing it for years and years and years. So I highly commend Melanie for the work she does, and other abuse recovery experts on the subject. But I thought I'd do a little podcast on what isn't a narcissist, in my opinion, because you can look this subject up and you'll notice that there are so many videos on narcissism, what it is, the traits, all that stuff, but no one's really discussing what it isn't. And I think I've figured out through my research, through my experience, through being narcissistically abused myself, there's different categories of narcissists as well. Some are overt, some are covert, some are altruistic, some are victims, some are... but we can't paint the broad brush that everyone's a narcissist. The thing is, narcissism is making the world stage. There's more discussion about narcissism now, which is really good, but I really think we're in the teething stages of kind of confusing everybody to have narcissism. So I think I've figured out what it isn't, and it's very simple. It's fairness, treating people with fairness, being fair in situations, being fair. A lot, what you'll find with narcissists, as much as they're pretenders and mask wearers, and they certainly don't shake your hand when you meet them and introduce themselves as a narcissist when you meet them. Of course, that's not going to happen. Most of the time, you'll get charmed and future faked. And in the case of an altruistic narcissist, they're very kind and very giving. You'll find very, very soon, when you get close to them, they'll continue being like that with everybody else but you. So there's quite a few categories of narcissists. So instead of me getting into the traits of them, what a narcissist isn't is, I'd say, many people in their dealings with others, it's this sense of fairness. It's where your words and your actions are congruent, where you don't feel entitled, where you do set boundaries, you do stand up for yourself, and you don't do to others what you wouldn't want done to you. It's simple. Do you have people in your life that respect you and don't treat you the way they don't want to be treated? None of us are perfect, and we've all got some traits of narcissism, but there's inflated narcissism that once you're entrapped in it and involved in it, it's very late and can be very, very confusing. So if people are treating you fairly, even if they've got sort of harsh personalities, are they fair? Are they fair people? And they're not necessarily going to be a narcissist. Are their words and their actions congruent? Not necessarily a narcissist, if that's the case. What other traits? So it's very simple. When you're around people and their words and their actions aren't congruent most of the time, you might be dealing with one. There's different extremes of it, and if you've experienced narcissistic abuse, I don't have to sit here and go through what that feeling is like, especially when there's a few different categories of them. But yeah, it is a fairness. Do you conduct yourself with fairness? The person you're around, are they conducting themselves with fairness? It's usually a good way to know someone isn't a narcissist, and you're not going to get involved with a narcissist. The other way of the red flags of one is their words and their actions aren't congruent. They play the victim like nothing you've seen before. It's basically to engage your empathy. What other traits? Again, people don't introduce themselves as narcissists. Unfortunately, you'll have to sort of read between the lines when you're getting to know them before you're entrapped with them. And the way to read between the lines isn't necessarily just looking for the narcissist traits. It's to look at the opposite. How are they behaving where actually they are fair? Their words and their actions are congruent. What they say is what they mean, and what they mean is what they say. Fairness. Because most narcissists do not swim in the ocean of fairness. Okay? They will manipulate, they will blindside, they will use the tricks in the book to get others to do and acquiesce to them, while the person who's giving it to them feels very, very drained and confused and not knowing why. So essentially, I would suggest deal with people in your life, whether they're new or not new, that deal with fairness, that they're fair, and you have a conditionally accepting relationship where it is give and take. It's not this sneaky where you're giving more and they're taking. Look for the balance within relationships. That's again if you're balanced, because if you're not balanced and you're a codependent, or you're have other certain conditions, mental conditions, a codependent or a borderline, which tend to be attracted to narcissists. Ultimately, it's very good advice for you to actually get to know yourself first, because the better you know yourself, what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are, when you meet new people or people in your life, you're going to realize the things that you're willing to tolerate and not tolerate, and set boundaries and have very good self-esteem, because that's what being healthy is. Unfortunately, we don't live in a society, and I'm being very honest here, and I don't mean to offend anybody, okay, that mental illness is very, very prevalent. Therefore, narcissism is kind of rampant because it's got something to feed off, okay? So the stronger we become, the more we know who we are, the more we set our boundaries, okay? We are naturally going to have to evolve in that direction, because the way things are looking now, the way the prevalence of mental illness at the moment is really, as far as the human condition goes, it's not good. It's time to grow up. Let's grow up. Let's start having a sense of fairness. Let's start working together, and let's stop hurting one another. And personally, I think that's where the party really starts, because this old way of conduct with one another, whether it's in relationships, business relationships, at work with bosses, this old way of conduct, it's not serving anybody. It's not a good way of living. And I know this sounds very naive. Okay, I know what time it is. I know what it's like. I know what it's like out there. But a sense of kindness and fairness is going to take us much further than being stuck in these false egos where we're manipulating each other, and we're just riddled with mistrust with one another, that no one's really getting anywhere. And it seems to be getting worse. So it's wake up time. The good thing is there are people that are very much on this chapter, what I'm talking about right now, and know exactly what I'm talking about, and know exactly what needs to be done. And the more of us that are at this table, the better. Just a sense of fairness, that I don't put myself before you, and you don't put yourself before me. We both put each other there. And this is almost delving into good negotiation skills, conditional acceptance, all these things. To a narcissist, that they don't like that. They don't like a sense of fairness. They want to be ahead. They want power. And then you got overt ones that will show you that very quickly. And then there's others who are they will sideline you for power. All right? So look for these other qualities in people. And if it's not there, if the qualities of fairness and conditional acceptance and problem solving aren't there, and they'll always go for the drama stick, which I like to call it, you know what you're dealing with. Whatever category of narcissism they fall under, that is what you're dealing with. And if you make excuses, choose to stay, think you can change them, want to help them because they've had such a difficult upbringing or past or whatever, and the only thing you're engaging with this person are your empathic tendencies, unfortunately you're going to feel the emotional ramifications of being that way. And I'm definitely not promoting being cold. As you can tell, and I'll make it clear, it's about setting boundaries. Still honouring others, but honouring yourself. And honouring others, and honouring yourself. You see? That gets you out of the codependent status. It also shows that you're a person with honour. Your words and your actions are congruent. And when you see someone else isn't like that, they don't have to have your personality, your characteristics, your skills and talents. Just the basic fundamental human traits. Because we're communal, we're communal beings. We can make sacrifices for one another. That's all fine. But not fully sacrifice yourself for another human being. Stop doing that. This is actually, unfortunately, if you've got family members who are narcissists, or you tend to make excuses for narcissists that you meet, because it's very hard to tell if they are. You know, it is a term, and it's hard to sort of stick someone with a narcissist badge. They're a narcissist. It's just a feeling you get. This feeling of unfairness. Have they treated you fairly? Have they future faked you? All those things you need to stop and go, actually, yes, they have. I have to walk away. I have to step away from that. That's the hard part. So it's a way to, it's all very challenging, guys, what the world's going through at the moment. There is, and I've used the word before, the apocalypse is the unveiling. The veil is thinning, but not only thinning to what's going on out there. It's also thinning to kind of having a good look at ourselves as well. And we're going through that teething stage, because do we want a chaotic life or do we want a good life? Some people think that without drama, their lives would be boring. I happen to think without drama, it frees up my life to do really creative, wonderful things. For my family, for myself, for loved ones, for my development. The less drama I've got, the more room I've got to move. A lot of people don't feel like that. They're very used to drama, and that's how they feel alive. Which is really unfortunate. Probably 15 years ago, I used to be one of those people and not be aware of it. Which goes back to my advice of getting to know who you are. Know what your triggers are, know what your strengths are, know what your weaknesses are. So no one can come along and sniff them out before you even know what they are. So we can start developing trust with each other again. So this was just my a podcast talking about this stuff. I'm not an expert on anything. People who are out there doing YouTube videos, who do YouTube videos on narcissism, most of them aren't academic narcissist experts. They're people that have had a lot of experience, and they're bringing a lot of knowledge to the table. All right, but now that you're an adult, if you're narcissistically abused as a child, you were a child, you couldn't do anything about it. Now you're an adult, so now you can have discerning choices. Unfortunately, most people that were narcissistically abused as a child end up with mental health issues when they're older. So if you can get past those as well, all right. It's still very challenging, but again, you've got to ask yourself, what is it you want? What is it you want? You want a health-filled, nurturing, developing life full of growth and wonder and magic, or you want to be stuck in a victim state of mind, going around in circles and thinking that that's just life. I can tell you it's not just life. There's so much more to life. But the best way to tap into that is knowing who you are, understanding your triggers, understanding your strengths and weaknesses. Surround yourself with good people. Get rid of the ones who aren't. The fakes, the phonies, the pretenders. And it's really hard to put your finger on it, because some of them are really, really good at it. But they'll hurt you. They'll hurt you. And sometimes you might have to, making the choice of being alone is at the table than eating at the table with those that will hurt you. Alright, so again, what narcissism isn't, is people you're dealing with who are damn fair, who can admit when they're wrong and they're sincere about it, and authentic people. They're authentic. They don't have to boast if they do good things for the world or good things for charities. They don't have to boast about it, let the world know about it, take photos of themselves with it. You know, you gotta see stuff for what it really is. People who are good and kind don't have to tell you they're good and kind constantly. That's another little red flag too. If you meet people, or you meet someone and they're constantly telling you what a good person they are, and I tell you what, they say it enough and you start believing it, because why would they say it if they're not? This is the confusing, crazy making of it all. But yeah, good, kind people, watch people's fruit. Watch how they behave, not what they tell you. Watch what they do. Anyway, I'm Helena Phoenix. I will be doing, we're in November at the moment. I've done some promotions for my other businesses, but in 2021, I will be doing the life coaching and doing the advanced counselling, mainly over the phone. I think over the phone I think phone counselling is really effective, and I'll tell you why. When you go to seek counsel in someone's office, you go see a psychologist, a counsellor, and you go to their office, you drive there, you park the car, you enter the building, you sit in front of the counsellor, which is all good. That's all part of going to see a counsellor or getting counselling. But it can distract from the issues. You've got outside stimuli. Uh, you almost, you got to do the social graces while you're there. I think phone counselling while the client's in their home, comfortable in their home, and not having to worry about any external stimuli, and can just be completely real, 100% authentic with what their issues are, is a really effective way of counselling. So I will be offering phone counselling 2021, and I really look forward to it. So that will be a very separate business to my businesses now, but they'll be uh, very well managed. I have 3 years of psychology at university. I have my advanced counselling diploma, 15 years of personal training, which also included some counselling, I guess, dealing with people and eating issues, and people with obesity and emotional eating and all those things. So I come with a lot of experience. I certainly will be helping people with emotional issues with their weight, and I really look forward to that as well. These aren't easy things to tackle. They're not. I'm not going to lie. They're not. But if you're committed to self-love, to your own self-esteem, especially if you've got children and you want your children to see a parent or parents who are strong human beings, who are role models for them, and that's your motivation, I highly commend that. I highly will be very present with you to make changes in your life. So, let our children be our inspiration so we can be great for them. So, that was my little rant about what narcissism isn't. People just conducting themselves fairly. Words and actions congruent, kindness simple. And I'll keep people posted and doing my different type of marketing for the counselling for next year. I really would like to be of service. I really feel like there's people that are really need some help in the emotional realms that they're really having a lot of difficulty with, and I really feel like that's my angle. That's where I could say I'm partially an expert helping people navigate and control their emotions. Okay, so I'm Helena Phoenix. Thanks for listening to this podcast. I do music. I like I said, I've got these other few businesses. So for me, it's about constantly tapping into my potential, about feeling strong and doing things that I love, and encouraging others to do what they love and enjoy, and to harm nobody along the way, physically, emotionally, mentally, any other way. I'm a very big proponent of that. Very, very big. Some people deliberately hurt others. Some people aren't aware that they hurt others. Not only aren't they aware they hurt others, they play the victim. And anyone who's sort of there and they realize they do that, and they don't want to be like that anymore. They realize the negative impact it has in their lives, on themselves and on others. I'm certainly can help you with that. I'm telling you, there's a very big incentive to become a great problem solver and a person who walks in honor. It comes with great incentives. I don't think people understand that element. They think that, like I said before, without drama, their life's kind of empty. No, believe me, there's a whole other world, and I definitely would like to assist with that. So I'm Helena Phoenix. Thanks for listening. I post kind of little videos all the time, and I kind of do really explain what it is I'm doing, so things don't sort of cross over. business-wise. So it's very clear as to what I'm doing. And thanks again for listening.